Hello people of the internet, this is Paolo from JCube. I'm going to show you one of the features of the newly released Multiverse 7.1, which is this current release. And as you can see here, we have a super simple scene which has no shaders besides the white shader that is on the ground, white principal shader. And this feature is about USD-Z rendering both in the viewport and in the renderer, in this case 3Delight NSI. So I will read a USD-Z file I downloaded from Apple in this case, and you can see by default is red as smooth shaded, so we'll keep the default settings, and we can see here a shoe, and this shoe is gray because smooth shader is the default draw mode. But if we click on this guy here with the USD label, it will display USD-Z shading networks that are actually USD preview surface, which are contained in the USD-Z file, including the textures. And this is of course in the viewport, and you can see here, and we can also render it. So I can unhide 3Delight here and just kick off a render, and you can see what happens is that the procedural, the multiverse procedures will construct the shading networks on the fly, the shading networks included in the USD file, and render the shoe. So it's super useful for props and for the USD-Z workflow, of course. Other things, let me just unhide this. Another thing I can show is the hierarchy of this. Is super simple, of course, it's just a mesh in this case, so we can open Meow. But what is useful to see here is we can see the looks. In fact, you can see that the G0, the name of this mesh primitive, has a bunch of shaders attached, text colored reader and diffuse color texture, for example, and surface shader itself. And by the way, you can see the properties using the middle mouse button or show info inside here. So you could actually, for each of these primitive, if you want, you can see what data do they hold, including the mesh, of course. Yeah, so let me kill Meow now, and let's load another asset just for fun. We can load I'm sorry. Let's read another asset. We have the toy car. This has nice normal maps, so we can see it. Maybe we can scale it up and rotate it a bit, and we can render it again. Sorry, let's also see it in the viewport since we can do it. So yeah, you can see the textures, and then let's render it. Let's pop up and render this. This of course works also in IPR, by the way. So you can see here there are normals, metallic, and other particular textures. So you can see, and then we can change again this asset. Let's interrupt this render and change again this asset. Maybe, the toy B plane is very interesting because it also has motion blur. So it's actually this animated USD-Z file. Again, we can click here to see the textures, and we can put our camera in a interesting position and zoom in, and actually I think we'll go to the first frame and just render again. Yeah, and you can see the motion blur. So yeah, super nice because you can package your assets, you can author them with Multiverse, of course. You can use other software to create your USD-Z files, and you can use them in your USD-Z workflow, or you can use them for props or interchange. There's so many possibilities since USD-Z is getting everywhere. And just to mention, this does not only work with USD-Z files, it will work with any USD file that has USD preview surfaces assigned to primitives. So yeah, thank you for the attention, and see you next time.